Right. Let me
scoot in a little bit.
Let me get in between you guys. A little sandwich action. All right. Welcome to this very spontaneous and beautiful podcast with this beautiful view behind us.
You know what the comments will say?
What?
I usually skip this part.
What do you mean? Oh, okay. All right.
How about? I don't know, man. Let's do it. Let's talk about girls. Let's talk about how do we pick the right girl?
Who wants to start?
I think we had a very great.
I think you both of you guys have JFs, so.
That's true. You want to start? How did you pick your wifey?
So, I think a lot of it comes down to just trusting the universe in the right moment. You know, I never chased it. I wasn't expecting anything, and usually, beautiful things come out of moments where you're just open to receiving, and that can, this conversation can go from not only just girl talk, but anything really. Just being open to receiving and being open to opportunities, possibilities. And when the right moment happened, I was open, and it happened. Wasn't chasing anything external. I was whole with myself, just having a good time. And it turned out to an opportunity to meet a lovely lady.
But it's not your first girlfriend, right?
No, it's not my first girlfriend. And always things have happened with a flow. And what I mean by that is everything happens naturally. Nothing has been ever, forced into something or something like that. Everything always has happened organically. And I think that's the way to go.
Do you think, I think that's a good question. Do you think you can love multiple, times, like deeply? Because let's be honest, like the first love is like the strongest one. I think we can all kind of agree. Like when you're in love for the first time, do you think you can experience it multiple times with multiple, let's say, partners?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I do.
What about you, Manuel?
I think the first love, it's mostly because of inexperience. It's full of illusion as well. And part of that illusion fills up that flame, bro, that, that this is the one and that this is never going to happen again. So I think a lot of it comes from that place. But I really think that the first love maybe is not the same as a more, let's say, experienced and open and let's say down-to-earth love. I think there are different kind of love in that sense.
Have you loved multiple times?
I have loved multiple times, yeah. I have loved multiple times. All of them very different. Very grateful for all of them, honestly. But it's crazy because we really live in the unknown, man. You never know what's gonna happen around the corner, and we have this idea that life should be in a way where we meet someone and that's for the rest of our life. But how about if, maybe in the end you end up with 3 different people in your life, all of them with different experiences, with different takes. And I'm not closed for any of those. I think I'm pretty open to go with the flow. Some people get this, I saw her and I knew it was gonna be my wife, and some people never had that experience, so you never know how it's gonna be.
No, I agree. What was one of the things that one of the biggest learnings you had being in relationships with partners, with females in the past? Is there anything where you're like, yes, like this one particular moment or experience I had with XY person really opened my eyes?
Bro, if like this one was from my previous relationship where I thought I had like the perfect girl, and then I realized that I wouldn't want to say at that level, but I wasn't prepared for what that would look like. So, you know, if you want to have a girlfriend that is a model, you can clearly have to have your shit together for jealousy and for you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like,
I can attest to that. Yeah.
you cannot expect to have a model as a girlfriend and then you just be all jealous and try to keep her at home, because that's not her life.
Yeah.
That's not her job. That's not how you met her. So you gotta be the man to have the girl. You know what I'm saying?
True.
That's my biggest. That was the biggest take from my previous relationship.
I think that's scary, right? Like having this trust to your girl, because let's be honest, we are guys and we know how guys are, right?
Yeah.
So when you, for example, your girlfriend goes out, you know, like to a party, like with her girlfriends, we both know that probably like 10, like 100 guys will try to talk to her, and I don't know, like I hate this feeling, even though I know that, you know, my girlfriend would never do anything, like just the feeling of, you know, random guys trying something. But I guess if there's a lot of trust involved from both sides, both, you know, from your side and your girlfriend's, like partner's side in this case, then I think you're good to go. But of course it takes a lot of maturity and kind of, you know,
Balls.
yeah, no, for sure. Like, yeah, like I know for a fact nothing's gonna happen. Like I'm the man, you know.
Yeah.
Go have your fun, and I know I'm your man.
Yeah. From my experience, what I discovered is that, of course, you need to trust your couple, but sometimes it's even more about if you trust that you will be fine no matter what happens. You know, and that's the next level thing, because if you know that you will be all right, then you don't really have to go through that naive, those naive breakups that, man, I think we have all had them, or we will probably have them at some point, where, you know, it's not about whether you know or you don't know your couple. It's that sometimes we don't even know why things happen. Everything is very strange. We expect things to be in a way, but yeah, I guess you never know.
True. Have you, Karlis, ever been scared of being alone at some point?
Very much.
No?
Very much.
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
Like recently, or like more in the past?
Much more in the past. Right now, actually, I'm in a period where this is something very weird that happened to me. Like 6 months ago, I had this feeling of cutting out all my relationships, all my open relationships, all my friends in different countries.
Also, so not only romantic, like all of them.
All of them.
Okay.
Bro, and when I say all of them, I mean all of them.
Okay.
When I say that, oh yeah, I could visit this girl in this country and you'll be fine, I know that I'll be with her. All of them, bro. All of them. And that was scary, because I was like, but what am I doing this? I remember asking my bro, I'm gonna do this. And he was like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, yo, it doesn't make sense to you, but I'm getting this and that's going back to what I said. You never know what's gonna happen. Maybe you're actually getting ready to enter something else, or maybe you need to go through a long period alone just to, you know, get your shit together. But yeah, bro, I there's been moments where being alone was a thing. And when you're handsome like Karlis, that's not really. That's an issue, because you have immediate access, right? You have access.
To be
anytime.
strong. To be strong, right? To say no.
I think the access thing comes for all of us equally. And it is a big thing. You know, I think especially for like higher level guys that have a mission, guys that are going after their goals, I think it comes pretty easily. And we all know that it comes pretty easily if you really want it to, but it comes down if you want that, and those things that do come easily, most likely are not, you know, high value.
Again, they don't fulfill you as well, right?
Yeah. Those things are for sure not as fulfilling as something beautiful and long term. And but yeah, I think being alone actually is a really good thing. You have to be alone sometimes, you know. in some moment of your life, you have to learn to be okay with yourself. So important. But in these times, actually, you know, having a brotherhood is, I think, super important. Having a brotherhood in a close circle that you can chat with, and romantically maybe you're alone, but you're never alone if you have brothers around you. I think that's why it's super important to have a group of strong guys with you on your journey.
How do you find them?
Well, first off, you come to Mind Plus Mastermind.
A little plug.
But you have to be the first brother. You have to embody a person who is deserving of a brotherhood. You have to be the first guy. You have to be the first guy of the network. You have to be that guy. And then you don't even have to find it. It will naturally happen. I believe that 100%. Naturally happens, Our connection happened completely organically and naturally.
Yeah.
Just completely organically.
That's one of the biggest lessons I've taken lately, that if you really want to help or provide value to people, you need to become the, it sounds cliche to say the best version of yourself, but you have to be the person that creates enough space so a close person can come and know that they can trust you. You gotta be that thing that would allow them to come for either help or support or anything.
I think value is a big thing, right? Like the main thing. If you have nothing to offer, then why should people spend time with you? And value doesn't have to necessarily be attached to money or business. Every single person can offer some sort of value, whether that's, being entertaining. We had an amazing guy the last days, David.
David.
Yeah, if you're watching, David, Yeah, with the bottle, a thick bottle. Like having some sort of knowledge on a specific topic, like wines, like cigars even, right? It doesn't have to be anything business or money related. If you have some sort of value to add, you can be valuable to a group of people, whether it's a brotherhood or any other group of, human beings. I think that's an important thing. It starts with you really knowing what you're good at and what you can deliver to others. Because once again, if you don't have that, or if you're not aware of that, why should people give you their time? Since time is the most valuable asset that we all have, right?
What would you say are the best skills to build circles?
Communication. First of all, communication. Because if you can't communicate, then no matter how good you are at something, you can't talk about it, right? You can't communicate about it. If you're just closed in your room, it's difficult to find people that kind of resonate with you. Of course, you have the online space, you have communities online on Discord, school, whatever it might be. And yes, this can be very, very good as well and beneficial. And it is very beneficial. And I'm very grateful that we have access to these kind of things and platforms. But I think as we all experience the last days, on this trip, nothing comes even close to real life human interactions and experiences. So being able to communicate and being really self-secure, believing in yourself, because this allows you to express yourself fully to the outside world. I think that's one of the biggest skills. And all the other things kind of follow, right? When you can express yourself, then you can express yourself about, coding, about business, about love, woman, whatever it might be.
I think you're right. And, within communication, one of the main skills that I think are, indispensable is learning how to ask the right questions, high quality questions. Because sometimes we think that communication is about always providing value, right? For you speaking and stuff. But when you learn how to ask questions that uncover, where the real sauce is, bro, that's something so valuable. You don't need to open your mouth. You just need to ask and let people throw stuff at you.
I think one thing that I can add to that, I think one thing is asking questions, but the other thing is actually wanting to hear the answers.
Very true.
Yeah, very true. I think listening, right? If you're able to listen, then this kind of thing comes natural to you. And the problem is that most people, that's how I feel about it at least, they don't really listen because they're so indulge in their own thoughts, right? Like in some cases, I mean, I guess you both know that when you talk to someone, you just feel if this person is actually listening to you, or if it's just like a yeah, cool, just waiting to talk about themselves again.
Yeah.
But when you talk to someone where you truly feel like, damn, this person is really listening, you automatically feel more, like way more drawn to this person. You naturally open up more. You naturally have a bigger and stronger bond and connection, and this allows for amazing things to kind of come to fruition, right? So listening, I would actually, to add to the previous question, I would actually add listening as a skill set as well in itself. Being able to really listen to what the person that you're talking to is talking about, because then you know what to ask, how to go deeper, and get more, insights on the person you're talking to, I would say.
How would you say that you become a good listener?
I experienced it in myself always when I was in conversations and I was listening to someone, for example, talking about, I don't know, their craziest trip that they experienced, right? And I was listening, whether it was like one-on-one, like in a group setting. And in my mind, it was like this comparison, like my ego being like, cool, but like my experience is way crazier, right? You're just waiting to kind of tell about my experience to be like, bro, cool, but you don't even come close to me. And I think in these moments, becoming aware of that, realizing that, I mean, like, no, you don't have to express it right now. Let this person express that, right now, because to them, this is the most amazing experience ever. Just listen to that, acknowledge that. You don't always have to come first and be the biggest and craziest and, most amazing guy or like person. Allow other people to do that as well, right? So kind of having this moment before you want to say something, catching yourself and being like, no, I don't need to, because why? Why do I have to make myself bigger,
Yeah, very true. It's
Just be curious.
yeah.
Just be curious. We're hearing like from the back seats.
Yeah, another one is very related to awareness, yeah? So whenever I hear myself listening to my thoughts instead of the other person, I try to switch my attention immediately. It's like, okay, the conversation is not here in my head, the conversation is out there. And then you can make that switch, but in order to make that switch, you need to be aware. You need to understand your mind, and you need to understand the kind of things it does, and you need to be able to see it too. So, yeah, awareness, man, is so key.
How did you get into these kind of topics? Because listening to you, it seems like you have a, quite big amount of knowledge about, certain topics related to personal growth and, spirituality, quote unquote. How did you develop this this hunger, first of all, for this kind of information? And also, how did you acquire this knowledge about this topic?
Yeah. Well, I discovered that all my life was actually, people don't really understand this, but all my life was being lived inside. I once had a trip to Paris with some friends. We were all, like, the three of us were in the same car, going through the same cities. One of us was hungry. The other one was worried about the car because he thought that it had some strange sound. And, we drive 2 hours in the car. And at the end of when we arrived at our destination, we were describing the city. The three of us saw a completely different Paris, man. I was delighted with the architecture. The guy that was hungry was only looking at restaurants. The other guy was only looking at repair shops. So we all had a different experience having exact the same environment. And that to me was like, okay, there's something within each of us that made us have different experiences. And then when I realized that, it was like, okay, there's something here. So then I started understanding that awareness, it's all about attention. Like, attention is awareness. Attention is, I can be right now talking to you, looking at you. I can be focused on what I want to say, or I can be focused about, that the water is very warm, or I can be focused about, shit, I gotta go because I gotta catch a flight right now.
Yeah.
So, and when I realized that, I'm like, okay, awareness is everything there is, man. Awareness is everything there is. So I'm gonna start going deep in that, and yeah, I discovered the way to kind of separate awareness from from my thoughts, emotions, and that completely changed my life.
How do you do that?
Well, you need to understand what the mind does and what awareness does. You know, consciousness, it's simply observing, bro. Consciousness does anything else than observing. It's always there. It's silent. It simply observes. And the mind is the one that speaks. The mind is the one that judges. The mind is the one that says, oh, this should be this way. This should be that way. This is correct. This is incorrect. So every time that you see your mind in action or your emotions in action, you know, you can really tell from which place you're saying things, from which place you're acting. If you're acting out of consciousness or if you're acting out of ego, out of, you know, thoughts, patterns, ideas. Yeah. And yeah, there are many ways to start observing the mind, the qualities of the mind. And so every week I would pick one quality of the mind. I will go through it. It's an interesting process. I'll get you into it.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, so let's say somebody watching right now, like listening to this, has never done anything similar like that, and this person is very interested, like intrigued by that thought, and wants to kind of express that a bit further and deeper. What will be like let's say, what will be 3 action steps that you would suggest or recommend to this person to kind of start this journey of self-development and kind of this journey within?
I would say the first one is perhaps you can meditate, and what meditation will do is will make you understand that you are not your thoughts, because you cannot control your thoughts. Your thoughts come and go, and the same with emotions. Emotions come and go, but there is something that is observing those things as they happen. So when you start identifying yourself with that thing that is observing instead of the thoughts and emotions, then you have the first step, which is making this differentiation between mind and, you can call it soul, you can call it consciousness, you can call it whatever you want. That would be the first thing. The second thing would be to deeply understand what the mind does. So understand what the ego is, understand what the super ego is, which is you know, maybe you have a thought and then there's another part of you that says, oh, that shouldn't be in another way. Both of those things are ego. One is called the super ego, one is called the ego. In the end, it's ego. Every time you position yourself from consciousness, then you can be closer to who you are. You can be closer to what you actually want. You can start discerning from which is the path that you want to have. But you need to understand what the mind does first. And the third thing is start living as authentically as possible. Bro, that's the journey. I think the journey is to become as you can possibly be. And when you do that, bro, everything else will fall in place. Money will fall in place. Your relationships will fall in place. Yeah, man. Life is a journey, and I think is an inward journey for me.
I agree. I think in regards to the topic of authenticity, I think it's a scary position to be in for a lot of people that have never experienced that. Because I feel nowadays a lot of people, not everyone of course, but like the vast majority, from my personal kind of observations and experiences, have like this mask, right, in front of them. They kind of play a role to a certain extent. And the way that I look at it is that, you know, when you play a role and when you quote unquote fail, it wasn't you that failed, right? Because you weren't yourself. So I think subconsciously you kind of try to minimize the pain that you might experience at some point. Because when you live your true self and, you know, you're an authentic person, you just stay true to yourself, you don't play a role, no mask, no nothing, just completely pure. When you then quote unquote fail, it might feel personal because you start thinking, okay, I did what I wanted to do, I was myself and I failed, so I suck, right? So then maybe self-doubt creeps in, and like you start to question yourself and like everything, and you fall into this very, very dark, you know, kind of circle, like rabbit hole. But the thing with that is that I strongly believe, and I think we all agree on that when you live your true self, like when you're being an authentic person, you will never quote unquote fail.
Yeah, because fail is a concept of age.
Exactly. Like it's this illusion that you have to kind of break through that will open your eyes like crazy, right? Kind of being strong enough and brave enough to actually be like, no, I'm just going to be myself. I want to do this and I trust in this and I know it will work out perfectly. It's scary, but it's one of the best things you could do, period.
Bro, you see it so much in very famous artists and very famous entrepreneurs, very famous public figures that, you know, they failed very, very big. And the only way for you to say that an experience is a failure is if your ego says, yeah, that's bad, or, oh, that was wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong. It's part of the process. Don't you understand? It's part of the process. It needs to happen. It needs to build up your confidence. It needs to build up your character. These are the experiences that shape you. And if you see things as failure, okay, then failure they're gonna be.
Yeah.
But if you are like, okay, I really learned from this. This was the best experience, bro. You cannot lose if everything that happens is a part of your journey. You cannot lose.
And if you don't stop.
True.
It's a matter of perspective, right? Like there's this saying, there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I hate talking about this cliche, you know, quotes, but it's so true.
It's so true.
It's so true.
So true.
It's so true. What are your thoughts, champ?
So I was taking action on listening.
Yeah, I wanted to say he's practicing listening already.
I usually like to be an active listener, taking on, just like David said yesterday, you know, being a sponge and observing and hearing other people and hearing their perspectives, and you know, I'm gaining all of that as well. I'm gaining that energy back as well, just with listening. But I completely agree. And failures are such a, and I also can look back at my swimming, you know, career, and kind of put it together with anything else in life. And the reason that I was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, I never gave up. I never stopped. My competitors did. There's this really great quote that I always say as well, which is, if you stay along the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will flow by. And if you never stop, you cannot lose. You won't lose because you're on a journey. And losing is a mindset, really. It is, you know.
So true.
People sometimes ask me, because, you know, obviously I'm an athlete, how do I handle losing? And since the start of my swimming career, my coach always told me, you know, don't look at other people. We're on our game, we're doing our stuff. Don't even worry about it. We're on our path, you know. And I never worried about it. No loss has ever affected me in any type of way. Obviously I like to win, but if I lose, I take it as a lesson. I learn from it, and next time I'm gonna try to get you back. You know, and that's the part of the athletic game and the game of life. So yeah, I completely agree.
What do you think is the main difference between you and, let's say, your competitors? Because like you mentioned, you didn't give up and some of your competitors did. Like, what would you say is one thing that separates you from them, that keeps you going no matter what?
You know, that's a hard question. Can't really say a direct answer, because I think I was just born with being, born with a mission that I cannot explain really. It's a mission of self-actualization and being focused on my goals, being focused on what I want to achieve, and at that moment in life I wanted to win. I wanted to be fast, touch that wall first. Oh, it's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. It's a really good feeling as well, too, not only for myself, but you know, that I know that people, either, you know, my parents are watching me from the stands, but I always know also that my grandpa and my grandma was watching on the TV. And I know my grandpa always messes it up, like messes the whole thing up. He doesn't know which lane I'm in, but he's just rooting. My grandpa was is my absolute biggest fan. He took me to practices when I was like young, in school. He was always like meeting me after school and giving me the backpack, and I was running to the tram to go to the training. He was my biggest and is my biggest fan. And I do it for them as well, because I bring back that medal. When I go to the stands, I give the medal to my mom. I give when I come home, I drive to my grandpa's house. I give the medal to him. He has a full house of medals now as well.
Damn.
And it's amazing. It's awesome. But to get back to your question, why and what differentiates me, can't really tell you. But I know how to focus on what I want. Focus and attention. And just sticking through it. It's something that you are born with, I think. Some people are not born with it. There are some things that you cannot teach. You have to find it, or just you're born with it. Some people are just born with an inner fire. Why did Kobe do what he did? Why did LeBron do what he did?
Do you think you can develop that if you're not, let's say, born with it? Like this fire, like this focus and attention?
I think so. We've heard many, success stories from an average life to an incredible life. I think there are some ways to activate that inner fire for sure. I don't need to activate it because it's activated already. So I can't really speak on that. I don't really know, but I think it for sure is possible to activate it, yeah.
I think pain can be a big thing, right? Suffering.
Yeah, definitely.
It certainly is for a lot of people. And I think I know for Karlis and for me also it was a big one. I don't know if it was similar for you, Manuel, or no.
Pain in what sense you mean?
That you felt some sort of pain or suffering that made you want to achieve more, to push harder, to kind of light this fire.
For sure. For me, for example, learning Chinese. When I learned Chinese, I think many of let's say, quote unquote, my good achievements have been coming from feelings of not feeling sufficient, perhaps. Many of them. And I think that now I have a totally different approach because I understood that running out of fear, it's an amazing fuel. But you can pick love out of fear, and you can still do the same thing, and you can even perform in a whole different level. But yeah, you gotta use a type of fuel. Doesn't matter. I honestly don't think it really matters. As for the goal, it doesn't really matter what kind of fuel you use. Mm-hmm. But you need to see what your fuel is, because you can transform things. And yeah, brings back to awareness.
You're saying that your perspective now changed. That you don't necessarily act out of a position of fear and feeling like not being enough. Mm-hmm. What do you think changed that made you go from point A to point B? From feeling, not being enough, from feeling like shit maybe, mm-hmm. to feeling very content with yourself and acting out of a position of abundance, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's all a matter of awareness, really. We go back to the same place, because if you're not aware, you cannot see it. And if you cannot see it, you cannot know, right? So for you to know that you are acting out of fear, for you to know that you're acting out of lack, you need to be able to see it. And it's only until you see it that you can make a decision whether you want to transform it now, or perhaps you're not ready to transform it now. But then and just knowing, it's worth so much already. So much already. At least when you can pick your cross, right? You can pick what kind of weight do you want to have in your shoulders and what you're willing to bear. Because, man, the pain the pain of transformation is very hard. When you have to break up with that girlfriend because you know that this is not serving you to your highest version, that sacrifice is painful, man. It's painful. It can be out of love, but that same sacrifice can also be out of fear. So you just have to pick. You just have to pick. But in order to be able to pick, you have to see it.
The bigger picture, right?
The bigger picture.
Yeah. Do you still sometimes find yourself having moments of doubt?
Always. Now, here's the interesting thing. In the present moment, you can only doubt if you're engaging with the mind. It's only the ego that doubts. You know, this can be a very strange thing to say, but as I said earlier, consciousness can only observe. Consciousness make you feel whether you're feeling a pull towards, the front, or whether you're feeling a push towards the back.
Yeah.
And that's something that the ego doesn't really understand. You guys following me? What I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
It's kind of awareness has no doubts.
A very good exercise, maybe for someone watching or listening right now as well. What I was used, like what I like to do always is when I was meditating, right, during my meditation sessions, I imagine kind of getting out of my body and just looking at myself from a bird's eye perspective, and observing from that position what I'm thinking right now, kind of looking at it from the top, from above.
Yeah.
Because I think at the beginning it can be a difficult task to, become the observer of your thoughts, right? It's like, bro, like what the fuck? Like, I'm thinking what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
So kind of imagining yourself from an outside position and then looking at yourself from that point can be a good practice and exercise to help you with that. At least it was for me. I don't know if you experienced something similar.
Yeah. Yes, very much. That's okay. I'm gonna put something out here for how was the consciousness transformation for me. There are two verticals. Yeah, one is how to access the present moment, meaning how to directly access consciousness, and the other one is how to see what the mind does. There are two things. For the first one, of how to access the present moment, how to access consciousness, there are 5 ways to do it. The first way is, in the moment, you gotta ask yourself, am I? Meaning, do I exist? Am I here? Am I now? And it's a very simple question that you don't need to answer verbally or mentally. You simply ask yourself and you observe. It's like, damn, okay, I'm here. This is where I'm located in space. I'm here in the pool, whatever. I'm here. And immediately, at least for 1 second, you were consciousness because there was no thought. It was only about perception. Yeah? That only takes a second. That's one. Another one can be, you pay attention to what is going to be your next thought. And when you're looking, okay, what is going to be my next thought? In that moment, you are consciousness. There's no thought. You're just waiting to see what is going to be the next thing. Immediately, you're the observer at that second. Right? In that moment, bro, there are no doubts. In that moment, there are no fears. Just in that second. Because, as I said, consciousness is just observing.
Yeah.
And those are 2 out of 5. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but
We'll gatekeep, actually.
Yeah. No, guys, you're gonna get the full thing. I'm gonna make sure
But that's
that.
off the pod,
Yeah. Well, another one can be to realize that we live in the unknown. That in the next second, you never know what's gonna happen. The next second, do you know for sure what is going to happen in 2 seconds from now? What is going to be my next words? whether you get a call that something happened in your house, or whether, you know, then you check your phone and there's no money. You were part of a scam.
A little rug pull action.
A little rug pull action. You never know, bro. We really live in the unknown, man. And in the ego, part of the work of the mind is to plan everything, is to have everything safe, to keep the comfort zone. You know, you will never see very advancedly aware people in their comfort zone. They're always, you know, they are always in flow somehow. So living in the unknown, when you're like, okay, I live in the unknown, and you observe, wow, you're in the present at that second. And then you can actually see how, then you will start thinking stuff, and then that's your mind taking away the attention.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a practice.
A lot of food for thought, that's for sure. Gotta digest that, especially if you're listening to this for the first time, but I completely agree with you. The small things sometimes that have the biggest impact as well, right? Those split moments in between thoughts where you just exist.
It's exactly that.
And then it's all about being aware of them and kind of expanding them and making them bigger. Mm-hmm. What excites you guys? What excites you the most?
Damn. I love building, whether that be building myself, you know, building a brotherhood, building a business, building a family. I'm a builder for sure. I'm one of those personality types. I love building. I love creating. I love working on something always. And that's really what excites me. And also just I'm really looking forward to having a family at some point. Like I really want to do that. I want to, you know, be a father. Even though I'm young and I'm saying these weird things, some people would be saying I want to get that Lambo and get a bunch of, I'm not gonna say anything else, but yeah, I'm really excited about building up a family and showing the world to my kids and my, you know, family, and also my mom. I really want to take my mom everywhere in this world, show her everything that she didn't get to see with dad, you know. Take her to all these trips as well. That's also, I'm really also excited about that. I really want to retire my mom within, like, I would say the next year. That would be ideal. Just so it's finally over. She doesn't have to do work. She doesn't have to. If she wants to, cool. But nothing is necessary to do for her. That's my biggest goal, to retire my mom right now. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I respect that. Do you have a strong bond with your mom?
Absolutely. You know, right now I have to be there for my mom, you know. So I think I think a lot of people usually have a stronger bond with their mothers. Something.
Especially guys, right? There's like this thing, the daughters with dads and like sons with mothers.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but yeah, for sure. For sure, my mom has always been super, super supportive with everything that I'm doing. Swimming, work-related, everything. My mom's also one of my biggest supporters, obviously. I think it's we have to be grateful for awesome mothers, you know. Some people don't have the privilege or don't have that experience, you know. And we really have to be grateful. And it's really easy to be forgetful about things that are there always, right? But it's only when that thing is gone when you realize how fucking grateful you should have been for something. It's unfortunate. That's how we are, you know. Sometimes it really, for us to appreciate something, it has to go away. It has to break up, or, you know. And it's sad, but so that's why you have to practice being grateful for everything. Being grateful for what we have here. It's really easy, you know, to have this view, which is absolutely insane, and get complacent with it and be like, yeah, that's the view.
A little something.
That's
Yeah,
the
a
view
little
that we
something.
have, you know. But just being there in the present and appreciating these little small things, appreciating the fact that we get to wake up with a roof. A lot of people down there probably don't even have that. And then we can think about the insane view and the insane house and the insane connections. But it all starts with the little things, the people that we have, and just this body that we can do this right now. Yeah, it all starts with the little things.
Preach.
What about you, Adam?
What about me?
What excites you?
What excites me? Living life to the fullest. Meeting amazing people and also bringing thoughts that I was observing, of course, into reality. Like, for example, this, like I was having this little conversation right here with this view. This was a thought, like, a few weeks ago. And now we are here. We met like 6 days ago. I never met this guy right here. And I didn't know this guy before. And now I feel like we have this very strong bond and connection. I know I have a friend for life now that I can count on, and that, that he can also count on me. And I think this is very, very beautiful, because life gets so much more beautiful when you experience it with people that are on the same path, that understand you, that support you, that uplift you no matter what, because it can get quite lonely. So those are the main things, like really experiencing, seeing the beauty this world has to offer, sharing this with amazing people, creating amazing experiences, and really building things also like Karlis mentioned, whether that's communities, businesses, opportunities for different people, projects in whatever industry or niche it may be in. Like really, that I would say, yeah. What about you, hermano?
Hermano. I think for me, two things. For me, to be of service, which I think ultimately summarizes what you said about making projects and building companies that help people. That's ultimately what entrepreneurs do. It's service to others, because otherwise, unless you're making a little rug pull, it's not really what we're talking about here. But to be of service and to ultimately be a figure of consciousness and love. I think, I don't know, man, that just to be of service and to be a figure of love, that to me is everything. Because in the end, if you're a figure of love for your friends, if you're a figure of love for your family, if you're a figure of love for your couple, do you really think that things are gonna go wrong for you if you just embody that service and love? I think that's everything to me. That's everything to me.
Beautiful. Damn, we've been talking for almost an hour now. Let's
good, yeah?
One last thing actually, before maybe wrap it up, yeah. Let's say we all get a son, like we all have a son now. What would you tell your son if you could only tell your son one thing? I know it's tricky, and I also have no idea right now, but if you only could say one single thing to your son that you think would help him the most for his future life, for his development on his journey of becoming a man, a father, a businessman, a man of value, what would that be?
Damn, you're really putting this on us right now. Wow. I mean, this is an insanely hard question right now, and I think one part of the reason why I am definitely not, of course, ready for. And there are people, our friends, that are having kids right now. We know one guy, but I'm definitely not ready for having kids, because I have so much to learn, and I know that, and I have so much that I need to experience, so much failures that I still need to make, so much so that I I'm definitely not ready to be a father yet. 100%. There's no chance. Because I don't have that wisdom that I should have to bring another person into this life. I'm not ready for that responsibility yet.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because I think it's our generation, or probably 2 generations ago, that we have this vision that we need to be the person for our kids. And bro, all of our ancestors were like having kids or fucking 17.
Yeah, true,
and
true.
them dying at 30 from a war or something. And we have so much pressure on ourselves that we need to be this figure for either someone else or family or kids. And yeah, it's a very new thing. If you put it into perspective, it's a very new thing. But it's good, man, that you have the standards, right? That you have, that you wanna deliver. You know, it's awesome.
For sure. But going back to the question, I would say that there's definitely not one thing right now, but I think just saying that it will be all right. It will be okay. Everything will sort itself out. And everything that we just talked about is something that we should, tell our kids as well. I think understanding that everything is a lesson. There are pretty much no failures if you treat them like lessons. And everything will be all right. You'll be good. You'll be all right. And I'm here. Your pop is here, And that's exactly what I would tell him. You can count on me, I'm here for you, little kiddo. That's what I would say.
Damn, that's beautiful.
How about you, Adam?
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Simple, straight to the point. If it's only one thing, just came straight out of my mind. Because we talked about it the other day in the sauna, right? This, I think, quote from Homosi. Like, you can't lose if you don't give up. And I think that goes for everything. No matter if you're facing a challenging situation in your personal life, with your family, with your wife, with your mother, with your parents, in your business, in your job, in your university, whatever it might be, you will always succeed if you don't give up. It will get tough, for sure. But we as men, we grow through challenges. We evolve through challenges. That's our nature. So don't give up. And it will be okay, like Karlis said.
Oh, for me, was it one phrase or was it one word?
One phrase.
One phrase.
Thing, yeah.
Don't know, man. I don't know if my kid would understand this, but again, love and service, bro. Love and service. Love and service. Love and service.
It's beautiful. I don't think we have to add anything to that. I think we can just leave it as it is. Statement. Alright, guys. Was a good talk. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Love you guys. Damn, my skin is...
Yeah, it was like...
Yeah, let's...
Boys, I was shivering the whole time, by the way.
Actually...
I actually really wanted to get out.
Bro, I'm warm.
And the second
I'm
minute...
warm.
In
I'm
the
very
second minute...
I'm warm as fuck.